we want to minimize the risk of more imported cases. And so post-Chinese New Year, school reopen, and then we want to manage this risk as students start coming back. And some have gone to China. So we want to especially take initiatives and measures to protect the young ones. Okay. So let me just talk about the numbers, because we instituted travel declarations earlier. So we got some sense of the numbers of students who has gone to China in the past 14 days. So let's look at school numbers. School means from primary school all the way to JC. Preschool, I'll leave it to Minister Desmond Lee later to say something about it. Yeah. So for school, primary school all the way to JC, we have 2 who has gone to the province of Hubei. 1 student, 1 staff in the last 14 days, 2. As for those who went to the rest of mainland China, as of now, we have about 712 students, 62 staff who has gone to China in the last 14 days. Polytechnics and ITE, they are all part of the MOE system. These are our statutory boards. So we have 3 who has, for the last 14 days, gone to province of Hubei. And then 107 students gone to the rest of mainland China, 6 staff gone to the rest of mainland China. So all in all, we are looking at 5 persons who have been to Hubei in the last 14 years, and about, 14 days, what am I talking about? 14 years include me. 14 days, been to Hubei. As for rest of mainland China, we are looking about 800, almost 900. So all in all, it is 892 persons so far. We do expect the numbers to go up as travel declarations are still coming in. Yeah. But we are looking at that kind of numbers. So it's actually a fairly manageable number. Imagine we have 344 schools. You just look at the school numbers, 344 schools. We are looking at, on average, 2-3 students per school. Some may have higher, some may have 10 students. So I think we are in a situation very different from Hong Kong. Some of you will probably be asking me that. Hong Kong is part of China. I think their numbers are not like this. Their numbers will probably run into thousands or tens of thousands. So for us, less than 1,000, I think we can manage it much better. So school will reopen. School will reopen. IT, Polytechnic will open, and AU stand for Autonomous Universities, they will open tomorrow. Schools, primary school onwards to JC, open on Wednesday. But what we will institute is that for those who have been to China in the last 14 days, we will implement a leave of absence. So they will stay at home for 14 days from the day they arrive. Yeah? So how this translates is that for IT and Poly, if you've been to China and you arrive in Singapore on or after 14th of January, you stay home for 14 days from the date of your arrival. The date of your arrival is day 0. The next day is day 1. Up to 14 days, that's the incubation period, and then you can come back. Yeah? So this is to minimize your exposure. Should you, unfortunately, contact the virus while in China, minimize your exposure to young children. Yeah? And for those school students, if you have been to China and arrive in Singapore on or after 15th of January, you also stay home 14 days from the day you arrive. Why is there a day difference between the two? Because the school opening is a day difference. Yeah? So we are calculating 14 days. Basically, that's the basis. Yep. And of course, there are also other students, other private institutions. So for international schools, once after this press conference, we'll be contacting them and discussing with them and basically advising them to follow the same protocol. Yeah, I don't expect any disagreement. Autonomous universities, as you know, they are autonomous, so we are also advising them, and we've been discussing with them to implement the same measures. They have all agreed, and they will all be implementing the same. Yeah. Now, one last thing before I sign off is that for students who are on leave of absence, this is not an extended holiday. we will support your learning and education during these 14 days. Good thing we have done, all our syllabus and curriculum is now online in the system called SLS, Student Learning Space. So as the numbers are not big per school, teachers will make the extra effort to reach out to them, support them, so that they can catch up with the lessons at home using SLS. So this is not 14 days of just play at home, yeah.